definitely loved this film. The Carrier was very fast paced for 10 minutes, full of action, not a single word, but a lot was told in terms of the story. Um, Obviously, there was a carrier um, carrying something, or in this case, someone. Uh, but again, just going back to it, I absolutely loved the fight choreography because that definitely felt like the meat of this film, and it was very well choreographed, very intense, and again very fast paced. But I definitely had fun with this one.
Really intriguing. Very action-packed short with a lot of dramatic sequences. I really love the costumes, like that black mask in particular was my favorite. And I thought the fight scenes were great. We get everything from swords to nunchucks to hand-to-hand combat here. My only complaint was that I wasn't really clear on what the story was. Like I felt like we were just dropped in the middle of this action with really no clear beginning or end. And like I had questions on who I was supposed to be rooting for and why, and I felt like that was shifting or changing as the piece went on. And I don't really know why that person was being carried around in the bag. I would like to, especially because it was called The Carrier. So a little bit more plot would have made for a stronger film, but otherwise this was really fun to
I
watch.
liked the setting and the choreography and the costumes in The Carrier. I found myself really curious about the context for the universe that the events were taking place in. And I was really intrigued by what a larger movie with this world would look like and what the backstory of the different characters was.
No dialogue whatsoever. It was a little hard to kind of follow what was going on, but it was pretty well laid out, and the action sequences were pretty good. They weren't overdone like some kung fu movies can be. Not too cheesy. Good twist. I don't know why those things happen, but good twist
Really
nonetheless.
keeps
Kept
you
me.
engaged from beginning to end. The action is nonstop. There's never a dull moment. There's always something or someone waiting around the corner to keep it going. So I thought it did really well as an action flick. Um, Interesting when we do find out what's inside of the bag, which I kind of just assumed was like money or guns or something, but it was actually a child. Um, and that was a really interesting character as well, this little girl, because she actually had powers that probably would have come in handy a little bit earlier. But we can see that, she's obviously this very valuable asset, and a lot of people are after her to try and get it. And you never really know who is like who to root for, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. So I thought it was an interesting narrative. And I thought the creative choice to have the film really desaturated, almost black and white, almost gray toned, just like a hint of color, a hint of saturation. So I thought that was an interesting creative choice. But I liked this. I thought it was action packed, and yeah, I'm interested to know more about the story, more about the characters. Why are we there? Why does everybody want this little girl? But it's a short film, can't answer all the questions, but I thought it was very enjoyable.
Really enjoyed this film. Great action, obviously, and just really cool to be so invested in a story when there's not that much, barely any dialogue. Um, I think really my only note is that the sound effects kind of, certain sound effects took me out of the movie, and I feel like those can be improved. Specifically, like the punching, the hits, sound effects, and the gunshots. I just feel like that's such a big part of this movie, and you really want to make sure you nail that so people aren't taken out of the movie. But that's a minor note, and I still thought it was a really
There
good film.
was some things I enjoyed about this film. Definitely a lot of action. Most of it is rather well done. Some of it just felt a little clunky. It's a lot to sort of achieve in this one setting where there's you're as open as it is. You're also limited and confined. So they did do a good job at sort of varying the action, but that's my really only complaint about it is that it's really mostly only action. There's no dialogue, which is fine. You can still tell a story that way. But I felt some of the mystery of it sort of bled into confusion a little bit, um, which maybe was intentional. I can't say because it does leave a lot of questions for the viewer, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. My only other sort of little minor complaint was the audio just felt a little muted, kind of low, and almost like the whole thing was a dream. Maybe, and maybe again, maybe that was the point. It just had this quality to it that seemed to just remind me that something was amiss. But I think there was things that were done really well. I thought the costuming was great, especially the mask there at the end. I thought that was really interesting. And there is some good cinematography happening here too, and direction for something that is, yeah, just really focused in on strict action like the way it is. It's still definitely worth checking out. So have a look.